Sweetheart, stop breathing for a second. Stop scrolling. Stop texting him back. Because in the next 15 seconds, I'm going to hand you the single most lethal sentence ever created for the exact moment a man looks you dead in the eyes and says the 3 words that have broken more queens than any war in history. You're too much. When those words hit the air, 99% of women do the same tragic, soul-crushing thing. They laugh nervously. They apologize for existing so brightly. They spend the rest of the night trying to fold themselves into a smaller, quieter, more acceptable version of the goddess they actually are. And they wake up the next morning hating the woman in the mirror because she just betrayed her own magic to keep a boy comfortable. I know, because I did it once. Exactly once. At 26. In the back of a blacked-out G-Wagon in Dubai, with a guy who owned half the skyline and thought he could own me too. He looked at me after I laughed too loud at his own joke and said, calm as ice, babe, you're a lot. You're too much. And I, stupid, young, still learning, smiled weakly and said sorry. I'll tone it down. I felt my soul shrink 3 sizes that night. Felt my crown slip. Felt the fire in my chest flicker like someone had turned down the oxygen. I swore on every Birkin I would ever own. On every red bottom I would ever walk in. On every empire I would ever build. That no man would ever make me audition for my own personality again. 2 years later, the exact same type of man. Taller, richer, more dangerous. Looked at me across a candlelit table on a rooftop in Manhattan. 42 floors above a city that already worshipped me. And said it again. You're too much. This time I didn't flinch. I put my champagne down slowly. Let the bubbles settle. Leaned in so close he could smell the Tom Ford on my neck and feel the heat of my skin. Let a slow, wicked, amused smile spread across my lips like I was about to ruin his whole life in the best way possible. And I delivered the line I'm about to give you word for word. Syllable for syllable. With the exact tone. The exact pause. The exact eye contact that turns an insult into his surrender. 48 hours later, 3 dozen long-stem white roses showed up at my office with a handwritten card that simply read, I was wrong. Let me prove I can handle you. 1 week later, he canceled a 9-figure deal closing in Singapore to fly commercial. Commercial, just to take me to dinner in Soho. 1 month later, he introduced me to his entire family as the woman who changed the way I see the world. That same line has made hedge fund kings clear their calendars for weeks. Made Grammy-winning artists write verses about the night they tried to tame me and failed. Made surgeons in London cancel surgeries to fly to whatever city I happened to be in that weekend. I've whispered it in penthouses in Monaco, on yachts anchored off Mykonos, in the back of Maybachs crawling through L.A. traffic, in quiet wine bars in Paris where the sommelier knew my name. And every single time, the result is identical. His ego melts like ice in July. His obsession ignites like a match struck on the exact spot he didn't know was dry. And he spends the rest of his days trying to prove he's worthy of the hurricane he just tried to put in a box. Tonight, I'm giving it to you exactly as I say it. With the exact body language, the exact energy, the exact follow-up moves that turn You're Too Much from his pathetic attempt at control into the moment he realizes he just met a woman he will never recover from. A woman who will live rent-free in his mind for the rest of his life. If you've ever felt that knife twist when a man tried to dim your light because it scared him. If you've ever caught yourself making yourself smaller to fit into his comfort zone. If you've ever apologized for your laugh, your ambition, your sex drive, your standards, your fire, then stay glued to the screen. Because by the time this video ends, you will never shrink again. You will only expand. And every man who dares to call you too much will end up on his knees begging to be enough. Hit that subscribe button and turn on every single notification right now. Because queens don't miss the coronation ceremonies that teach them how to rule. Here's the cold, hard truth about what's really happening the second he says you're too much. He is not critiquing your laugh, your ambition, your curves, your opinions, your sex drive, or the way you command every room you walk into. He is confessing, live and in real time, that your energy, your presence, your sheer unapologetic magnitude is larger than the container he currently has available. And instead of expanding himself to meet you, he is asking you to shrink so he can stay comfortable in his smallness. Most women hear that and panic. They think they have to choose, be loved or be themselves. I'm here to burn that false choice to the ground and dance in the ashes. The moment those 3 words leave his mouth, you do not defend, you do not explain, you do not justify, you do not apologize. You look him straight in the eyes. Let the slowest, most amused, most dangerous smile you've ever worn crawl across your lips like you're about to ruin him in the most delicious way possible. Tilt your head just a fraction and deliver the line like warm honey poured over a blade. Good. I've worked very, very hard to be too much for the wrong man. And baby, you just proved I succeeded. Then you stop talking. You let the silence stretch until it's uncomfortable for him. Not for you. You watch his pupils blow wide open. Watch his throat move as he swallows hard. Watch the exact second his brain short circuits, because no woman has ever flipped the power dynamic so elegantly, so effortlessly, so completely on him before. That single sentence does 5 devastating things at once. It refuses to apologize for your power. It congratulates him for finally noticing it. It subtly informs him that he has just self-identified as the wrong man. It leaves the door cracked open for him to prove he might actually be the right one. And most importantly, it forces him to confront the fact that he is now the one auditioning. I've seen 6'4" finance bros in Tom Ford suits go pale, then flush red, then start stammering no, that's not what I meant, while simultaneously trying to pull my chair closer like a magnet. One of my private clients used it on a situationship who kept saying she was a lot to handle. She sent me the screenshots the next morning. He went from ghosting for 3 days to writing actual paragraphs about how he'd been scared of his own feelings, how he'd never met anyone who made him feel so alive, and begging for another chance in under 9 minutes. Another used it on a guy who told her on date 3 she was intense. He showed up the next day with a reservation at Carbone in Miami and a handwritten letter apologizing for ever trying to dim her light. The magic is not just the words. It is the unshakable certainty behind them. You have to feel, deep in your bones, that being too much is your greatest flex, your rarest perfume, your sharpest crown, because the right man does not want a watered-down version of you. He wants the full, unfiltered, high-octane, breathtaking, take-his-breath-away version. And he will move cities, cancel deals, learn new languages, rewrite his entire life to deserve it. The wrong man wants you small enough to fit in his pocket. The right man wants you large enough to live in your world. And that one sentence draws the line in marble. If you're scribbling this down right now, gorgeous, drop your favorite part in the comments so every queen watching knows exactly which weapon just landed in her arsenal. And the second he starts scrambling, the second you see that flash of panic in his eyes, because he just realized he might have lost the most intoxicating woman he's ever met. That's when you seal the coronation forever. You lean back just enough that he has to lean forward to stay in your gravity. You let your gaze travel slowly from his eyes to his mouth and back up again like you're deciding whether he's worth your next breath. And you say, soft enough that he has to strain to hear it. Velvet voice. Zero rush. Baby, the day you can handle all of this is the day you'll never want anything less. Then you stand up. Slow, deliberate, like every inch of you was sculpted for worship. Let your dress or your confidence do the rest of the talking. And you walk away first. You leave him sitting there drowning in the trail of your perfume, the echo of your heels on marble, the sudden, brutal realization that he just met a woman who will never audition for his approval. A woman who owns the room, the night, and every heartbeat he has left. I promise you, within 72 hours, his phone will be on fire. Voice notes at 2 a.m. that he recorded 4 times before sending. Paragraphs he rewrote until his thumbs hurt. Flowers delivered to your office with cards that say I was an idiot. Let me prove I'm not. Surprise reservations at restaurants that are booked solid for 6 months. Plane tickets just in case you're free this weekend. Jewelry with notes that say for the woman who is everything. And if he doesn't, perfect. You just saved yourself years of dimming your light for someone who was never built to stand in your sun. Because the woman who knows she's too much for the wrong man is automatically, magnetically, irresistibly exactly enough for the right one. From this moment forward, you do not explain your laughter. You do not apologize for your ambition. You do not negotiate your desires. You do not soften your edges to make anyone comfortable. You expand. You radiate. You demand. You receive. And you let the universe sort the boys from the kings. Walk into every room from now on owning the fact that too much is your signature fragrance. Your legacy. Your throne. And when the next man tries to hand you that tired, weak little line, smile like the goddess you are. Deliver my words like silk wrapped around steel. And watch him fall to his knees, trying to worship what he once tried to shrink. Leave I needed this queen in the comments if you're ready to rule. Turn on every single notification, because the next masterclass is even more dangerous. And I'll see you at the very top, where the air is rare, the view is breathtaking, and the men who make it there never want to leave. You were never meant to be managed. Darling, you were born to be worshipped. Now go collect your kingdom.